What is going on, guys? It is Bucky and welcome to your 37th JavaScript tutorial, and in this tutorial I want to go over something called the date object. Now the date object is a really useful built-in object whenever you're working with the date and the time. So what it does is whenever you create a date object, it goes ahead and it grabs the current date, which is in this case 3/31/2011, and it also grabs the current time, which is 3:21 p.m. So let's go ahead and before I get into the date object even more, I want to show you guys a special function that we're going to be using, and that's called the set interval function. So what the set interval function does is someone's texting me. Hold on. Let me see who it is. Some girl's macking on me. Sorry, girl, you're gonna have to wait. I'm doing a tutorial. So anyways, what the set interval function does is it runs a function however however much time you want to increment it by. So for example, you can run a function every second or every 5 seconds. So this is really hard to explain, so I'm just going to show you guys an example. So function, we'll just name it like do something, and what this function is going to do is just print something out on the screen. So document write, and just go ahead and write like tuna on the screen or something, tune key, who the heck cares. So set interval takes two parameters. The first parameter it takes is what function do you want to run? Well, I'm just going to run that do something and make sure, there we go, it's the right one. Make sure I didn't have any typos. And the second parameter is the increment you want to run it in, and this is in milliseconds. So if you write 1000 milliseconds, that means 1 second. So now what's going to happen is this: you're going to have your function called do something, and all this does is print something out on the screen, and you're going to say run this function every 1 second. So now if you go ahead and launch this in Chrome, it's going to say tuna, 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 tuna every single second. So that's a pretty cool function. Again, that's called the set interval function, and the reason I want to explain it to you guys is because we're going to be using it in the program we're going to be building right now. So anyways, the program I'm going to be making is this. I'm going to be making a basic clock, and what this clock is going to do is each second it's going to give you what time it is. So it's going to say 3:23, 3:23 1 second, 3:23 2 seconds, 3:23 3 seconds. So it's not going to be formatted nicely, and it's not going to be real pretty because I only have like 7 more minutes to make it. But I'm just going to try to explain to you guys what the date object is and how the date object is useful whenever you create things like clocks. So the first thing that we're going to be needing is a function that we're going to be calling every second. So go ahead and make a function, and I'm going to name mine print time, because all this is going to do is print the timeout on your computer. Oh, got a hairball. Print the timeout on your computer screen. So go ahead and make a variable called now, and in order to make a new date object, go ahead and press new date with empty parentheses. And what this does is it's going to go ahead and grab the current time of day and also the date and store it in a variable called now. So now that variable called now holds the current date and the current time. So it holds a lot of information, but we want to access certain pieces of information such as the hours, the minutes, and the current seconds. And what we're going to be doing with this information is just printing it out. So let's go ahead and make a couple variables. Variables hours is going to be equal to now, which is the date object, and the method to get the hours in that date object is get hours. So for example, right now, like I said, it's 3:24 p.m. So it's gonna get the number 15 because 15 is the number of hours in military time of 3 o'clock. The reason it doesn't grab 3 even though it's 3:24 p.m. is because if it just spit out the number 3, you wouldn't know if it was 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. So that's why it whoever made JavaScript decided to get it in military time. So this is gonna have 15 stored in the variable hours, which is equal to 3 o'clock. So now let's go ahead and make the variable minutes, which is equal to now.get minutes. And like I said, right now the current time is 3:25. So now this variable is going to be equal to 25. Pretty cool, huh? And last but not least, you can probably guess what I'm going to do now. Variable seconds equals now get seconds. So this is the number that's going to be changing on our screen every time. It's going to be like 15, 16, 17, 18, and it's going to print out a new second every time, since every second it's going to be grabbing all that information and the seconds is going to be changing every time we print it out. So basically all these variables are grabbing the current hours, the current minutes, and the current seconds. Simple enough. So now all we have to do is print it out on the screen. So document dot write, and let me just go ahead and write it in a hours plus colon plus mins plus colon plus seconds, and after seconds I'm just going to add a line break, because what we could do is make this appear on the same line, but I'm just going to make the new time appear on the new line every time, since I don't have that much time to make a pretty looking alarm clock. So I think this is good. So what this is going to do is it's going to print out 15, 26, 30, 15, 26, 31, 15, 26, 32, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and check it out. We now have a function that prints out the current time, but now we have to use that set interval function that we learned before to call this function every 1 second. So again, like I said, it takes two parameters. The first parameter is print time, or in other words, what function do we want to call, and the second parameter is how often do we want to call it. 1000 milliseconds, aka we want to call this function every 1 second. So now let's go ahead and save it and launch in Chrome. And I got a typo somewhere, so hold on, I'll find it for you. Alright guys, I found my error. I accidentally typed get menus instead of get minutes. So now that I threw the T in there, it actually should work now. So let's go ahead and launch in Chrome. There we go. 15, 29, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. So every second it calls that function. And again, like I said, I could have formatted this nicely so it maybe would have said 3 o'clock instead of military time, and maybe I could have put it on the same line of having it instead of having it appear on a different line every time. But hey, I only have like 10 minutes to make these tutorials, so that's what you get. So basically what I want to show you guys in this tutorial is we can use the set interval function, which is a built-in function in JavaScript, to call one of our functions in a certain time increment, in this case every second. So in this example, every second it called our function print time, and all print time does is it uses that date object to store the current time of day in the variable now. And what we did is there are a bunch of different informations in that object. 3 of them are get hours, get minutes, and get seconds. We use those pieces of information to make a very simple clock on our website. Again, the date object has a lot of different methods that are associated with it. If I went through all the methods, then it would take an awful lot of time, and I don't have that much time in these tutorials. It will take like 20 tutorials to teach you guys of all the different methods, but if you want to learn those methods, go to the JavaScript website, whatever the heck it is, and you can check them out. But anyways, whenever you're working with dates, such as building a calendar, or times, such as building an alarm clock, this is the object that you need to use, and this is how you create it right here. So hopefully you guys learned the concepts of set interval and also how to use the date object for something in a kind of useful program. So for now, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.